Right, so we are in Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is organized as a merchandising business organized as a corporation. We, on Monday, went through and learned about the easiest special journal that we have, and that is purchases. The purchases journal is what we use to record the fact that we have to buy merchandise. So if I am selling golf clubs, I am not making them. I'm turning around and selling those actual golf clubs to my customers, so I have to buy them from someplace. The difference between what I buy them for and what the customer pays is going to be called our markup, and that's going to cover my costs. So that is much different than our service business. The purchases journal is used to record the fact that I am buying merchandise on an account that I'm going to turn around and sell. When I use that journal, I'm going to be debiting the account purchases and crediting my accounts payable. The purchases journal has one column for numbers and only one column. You don't have a debit and a credit column because you are using the same amount for a debit and a credit. Also, as a reminder, purchases is a new account for us, and there is also a new classification. The classification is called a cost account. It is the cost of the goods that we're turning around to sell. Costs of our goods are going to lower the value of our business, so therefore its normal balance is going to be a debit, which is why purchases is going to be debited when we turn around to buy items. That's important to note that we have a new classification within this chapter. The other special journal that we're looking at today is going to be our cash payments journal. Now, when we look at our cash payments journal, the first three columns are exactly the same as what we did in our general journal for Rico Sanchez. We have two columns for a date, and then right here we have a spot that says account title. Exactly the same. Now, when I move over here, now notice this does not say source document, it says check number. Because the only thing that I'm going to be doing in my cash payments journal is recording the fact that I wrote out a check or I made some type of payment with cash. Now, in the past, I've always said, hey, note, if your source document is a C for check, you know you're going to be using C cash, C credit. The same thing's going to hold true. No matter what, when you use this journal, you have to affect the cash credit column because that's the whole purpose. This journal is keeping track of how much money goes out of the business. Now, think about it. That's really, really important for a business to know. The amount of money that leaves a business in any different month. Now, do you think that the golf course has expenses that they have to pay in February? Do you think they do? Electricity? They're going to turn off the electricity? Are they going to have that? Because there's a whole maintenance shed, and they have different things out there that they have to deal with, right? Do you think maybe they hire people and they actually get some of their equipment fixed, maybe in January or February or November? So that's an example of a business that's not open, but they're going to have expenses. What a business needs to know is they need to know their cash flow. Do they have a lot of money coming in July at the golf course? Yes. So they need to know that even though they have a large amount of money coming in July, they still have to have enough cash on hand to cover February when there is no cash coming in. Because there's always going to be a delay between that. The same thing would hold true for the Thunder Zone. Okay, so we just got in from the Thunder Zone joggers and a long sleeve tee. We have to pay that bill. Do we have the money to pay for those joggers and t-shirts yet? We haven't sold them, right? So we need to make sure before we order items, do we have enough cash on hand to cover that bill? Because eventually, once we do sell them, that's going to be money coming into our pocket, but we have to be aware of that. So having a cash payments journal, the business can go through and look at how much money goes out each month, and some months are going to be more expensive than others. So our columns for our cash payments journal, we have a general debit and we have a general credit. So those are going to be any type of accounts that need to be affected that do not have a special column. But we do have three special columns in our cash payments journal. We have an accounts payable debit column, we have a purchases discount credit column, and we have a cash credit. Now, before I talked to you about the fact that we no longer are going to write accounts payable Don's Quality Market, accounts receivable Ari Plaster. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to write Ari Plaster. And then we're going to go through and put it in the accounts receivable column or in the accounts payable column. So we have to write a little bit fewer words, but we have to use the right column. And now what's going to happen, though, is you are so accustomed to writing accounts payable Don's Quality Market that you'd be like, oh yeah, I don't have to write accounts payable, but you're still going to put it in the general column where in fact it has to go in that special column for accounts payable. Remember, we have this one account called a controlling account that tells me all of the amount of money that I owe all my vendors. My vendors are the people that I buy from that I'm going to owe money to. So for example, in the school store, one of our biggest vendors is Team Apparel. That's who we buy all of our products from. At any given point, I can ask my financial manager and I can say, how much do we owe Team Apparel? And they would go through and they would say, okay, currently in accounts payable, we owe Team Apparel $2,500. Go ahead. That's important because I don't know if I want to go through and order more items unless I know how much we currently owe them and what we have due. So it's always important that we have one snapshot of anything we owe all of our vendors, and that would be done in the controlling account called accounts payable. The most common mistake that happens in this chapter is going through and using our general column when you should use our accounts payable column. Now, purchases discount. Typically, what happens with the purchases discount, I just talked about purchases being a cost account that has a debit balance. Sometimes you can get a deal with customers, or excuse me, with vendors. They'll say, hey, if you buy so many products from us, we'll give you 10% off. Have you ever seen that volume pricing from people? They'll say, if you order 75 of this, we'll give it to you cheaper than if you ordered 50 of them. So we can go through and we can get a discount from people, and it's really a good idea for me to use discounts because that means my products are going to cost me less, which means I could put it on sale, but it also just means I could make more money on each item that I'm going to turn around and sell to my customers. So the difference between what is owed and how much we pay is going to be considered the purchases discount. They could go through and say, hey, originally the bill was $700, but because of this discount, we're going to give you $50. So then the amount of cash I would pay would only be $650. So that's what purchases discounts is. Purchases discount is a contra account to purchases, just like drawing was a contra account to capital. Capital has a credit balance. Drawing had a debit balance. Purchases has a debit balance. Purchases discount has a credit balance. We have that account to keep track of all the different times that our business was able to use a discount when then, in fact, we were able to make more money for all of the items that we're selling. So this journal is used anytime a business makes any type of cash payment. Now, I will tell you, 99.9% of the time, your source document in your cash payments journal is going to be a check. Once a month, you're going to record in your cash payments journal your bank service charge. The bank automatically takes that money out of your account and your source document would be an M. But otherwise, if you have a check, you're going to have to go through and record in that information. Everything you need is in Classroom. Okay? So when we look at our directions here for Work Together 9-2, cash payments journal for Franklin Lumber is given below. I'm going to guide you to the following example. Using the current year, journalize the transactions on page 10 of a cash payments journal. The check used as a source documents are abbreviated as a C. So transaction October 1st. So I'm going to go ahead and get the month on there of October. First, that I know. Now I'm going to read the rest of the transaction. It says paid cash for a telephone bill, $85, C321. Riley, what accounts are being affected? And cash. Okay, that's obvious. Every single one of these we're going to be affecting cash, otherwise they wouldn't give it to us. Now, Riley, does cash have a special column? So what goes under account title? Utilities. So utilities expense will go under account title. My check number, I'm just going to put in 321. I don't need to put in a C because my column headings already says check number. Now, we know cash is going to be credited. Utilities expense is not an accounts payable account, so it's going to go under general debit as 85 and cash credit as 85. October 7th, paid cash for office supplies. Now, what you're going to find is we're going to have two different supplies accounts now. We're going to have supplies office and supplies store. Office is the back of the house that goes through and makes sure that things are organized, and store is going to be where the customers are. So we're going to have two different types of asset accounts for supplies. But we're paying cash for those office supplies. Put the date of the 7th. The other account we're affecting is cash. Cash is going to be credited, so the account that goes there is going to be supplies office. Do not use the account title supplies expense. Source document is 322. What you will notice on your cash payments journal is you should never have a missing check number. If you ever find that you all of a sudden jump from 322 to 325, that should tell you that you missed journalizing a couple checks, because checks are going to be pre-printed. We're going to record the supplies office and utilities expense exactly the same. So I'm going to do a general debit of 52 and a cash credit of 52. Straightforward enough, just like we did before, right? Now the 11th, paid cash to GMT Hardware for merchandise with a list price of $800, less a 60% trade discount for check 323. Okay. Are we paying on an account? Does it say anywhere pay on account? No. We are not using accounts payable. The very first thing it says is we paid cash for merchandise. Now, from our last chat for section number 1, I said anytime you hear the word merchandise, it should be ding, 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 ding. The account title that goes with it is our new account, which is a cost account, which would be purchases. So anytime you see the word merchandise, you have to use the account purchases. Purchases is a cost account, has a debit normal balance. So I'm going to put the date in the 11th. My account title is going to be purchases, and my check number is 323. Now, basically, what happened here? Let me explain it in the way that you would understand. Okay, you go to Kohl's, right? Been to that store before? Looking at jeans. The jeans originally had a price of $70. But Kohl's always has a sticker on saying, hey, guess what? 25% off. So you're not going to pay $75, right? You're going to pay less your 25% off. The only amount that you have to record is going to be the amount that you actually paid. So that's exactly what's happening here for GMT Hardware. They're saying originally the product that you're going to buy was $800, but it's on sale for 60% off. So I'm going to go ahead and take 800, and I'm going to multiply that by 40%. Why am I doing 40%? I thought it was 60% off. That's actually what I'm paying. So when I look at that percentage, it says it's a 60% trade discount, meaning, hey, you're a good customer, this is on sale, you only have to pay 40% of that. And so what is that amount? $320. So that is the amount that I record my new merchandise, which is the account title purchases as. So I'm going to go ahead under general debit and put $320, and I'm going to go cash credit $320. We are not using the purchases discount column, Jaden. Okay. Everyone wants to throw something in that column because you see the heading purchases or trade discount. When you have a trade discount, that's a vocabulary term. Basically, you have an agreement with that vendor to pay less for the same product. You only record the product at the price that you originally paid it for, or that you have to pay it at. So that one comes up a little bit sticky. Now the 17th. Paid cash on account to West Supply covering purchase invoice number 199 for $3,420, less a 2% discount, check 324. You have to do math, just like we did on the last one. What you need to realize on the 17th is it says paid cash on an account. So paid cash on an account means I have to use accounts payable. I have to use that accounts payable column. Okay, so I'm going to put the date of the 17th, and I'm going to go ahead and write in just West Supply. Because I'm using the accounts payable column, I don't have to write the word accounts payable. Check number 324. Now, accounts payable, we have to record it. This is the most common mistake. So for those of you that are jumping ahead, listen to my words. You always have to record in accounts payable the amount of the original purchase invoice, which is why that transaction said covering purchase invoice 199 for $3,420. The original bill was $3,420. That means in the ledger, we have it down that we owe West Supply $3,420. So that has to go right here in your accounts payable column. Typically, students would go through and put it under general because in the past we have never had that accounts payable column. But remember, we don't write accounts payable. Now we just put in your accounts payable column. Now, the amount of cash that we pay is not $3,420. We are getting a 2% discount. So what I need to do is I need to take $3,420 and I need to multiply that by 2% or 0.02. When I do that, what is my discount, Dylan? Thank you. So I'm going to put 68.4. This is the first time you have had cents in accounting. Before this, it has always been flat dollars, and you've not had any change. They did that on purpose. Making sure that you don't make a mistake with cents will cause different things. Now, do my debits and credits equal? No. I have a debit here of $3,420, and I have a credit here of $68.40. So what we need to do is we have to calculate the amount of cash that we're going to be paying. They are not telling you. I need to, in my calculator, take $3,420 and subtract $68.40. And then that is going to be the amount of cash that I'm paying. Which should be $3,351.60. Agreed? That transaction right there is going to cause you fits on the test. The 19th. Paid cash on account to Quill Forest Products covering purchase invoice 182 for $4,380. No discount was offered. So date is the 19th. I'm going to put in Quill Forest Product, check number 325. Go all the way to your accounts payable column, put in the amount of the original invoice, which is $4,380. It said there's no discount, so the same amount, $4,380, goes in cash credit. Check that answer. How'd you guys do? Anyone get a perfect? You better have all got a perfect because I did it right. Go ahead and do your on your own.